In May 2025, President Donald Trump unveiled an ambitious $175 billion missile defense initiative called the Golden Dome. This program signifies a pivotal evolution in U.S. military strategy, particularly focusing on the deployment of weapons in space to bolster the nation's defenses against threats from adversarial nations such as China and Russia. Overview of the Golden Dome program. 1. Multilayered defense system. The Golden Dome is conceptualized as a comprehensive multilayered defense system designed to intercept missiles at various phases of their flight. This includes capabilities for detecting missiles before they launch, intercepting them during their initial ascent mid-course, and finally during their descent toward targets. 2. Space-based components. A groundbreaking aspect of the Golden Dome is its incorporation of space-based interceptors. This shift fundamentally changes the landscape of missile defense, enabling the U.S. military to engage threats from a vantage point beyond Earth's atmosphere. The Pentagon is exploring several configurations, medium high and extra high, which differ primarily in the number of satellites and interceptors deployed. 3. Projected costs. While the overall cost of the Golden Dome program is estimated at $175 billion, the Congressional Budget Office has forecast that the space-centric components alone could amount to approximately $542 billion over the next 2 decades. To kickstart the initiative, Trump has sought an initial budget allocation of $25 billion as part of a proposed tax break bill currently under congressional review. Key timeline events. Concept announcement. Trump announced the Golden Dome initiative during a press conference in the Oval Office on May 20, 2025. He expressed his expectation for the system to become operational before the conclusion of his presidency in 2029. Leadership assignment. General Michael Getline, Vice Chief of Space Operations, has been appointed to oversee the development and implementation of the Golden Dome program. Planning phase initiation. The Pentagon is still in the early stages of determining the specific requirements for the program, which is atypical for such significant military projects. An initial capabilities document is being prepared to delineate the operational needs of the system. Domestic and international reactions. Opposition from Russia and China. The announcement of the Golden Dome has been met with sharp criticism from both Russia and China, who have branded the initiative as deeply destabilizing. They contend that it could lead to the militarization of outer space and exacerbate global tensions. Technological imperatives. Pentagon officials have underscored the critical need for updated missile defense systems in light of the advanced missile technologies being developed by competing nations. The Golden Dome is positioned as a necessary countermeasure against these evolving threats, especially given reports of Russian and Chinese capabilities to disrupt U.S. satellite operations. Summary of insights. Strategic shift. The Golden Dome program represents a significant transformation in U.S. military strategy, emphasizing a multi-layered space-based defense approach to missile interception. Common themes. Across various news sources, the focus on the program's capacity to intercept missiles at multiple stages, the substantial projected costs, and the geopolitical ramifications of its implementation are consistently highlighted. Differences in coverage. While Reuters concentrated on the announcement's immediate details, CNN and AP provided broader context regarding the program's implications, especially concerning international reactions from Russia and China. Conclusion. The Golden Dome missile defense system symbolizes a bold stride in U.S. defense strategy, potentially reshaping missile defense frameworks through advanced technologies and space-based capabilities, while also provoking significant international controversy and debate. As the program progresses, its impact on global military dynamics and U.S. relations with its adversaries will be closely monitored. Counterintuitive information in the $175 billion Golden Dome Missile Defense Shield Plan. 1. Space-based weapons as defensive tools. Traditionally, the deployment of weapons in space has been viewed as a provocative move that could escalate tensions and lead to an arms race. However, the Golden Dome program positions these space-based interceptors as necessary defensive measures. This approach challenges the conventional wisdom that space weapons are inherently aggressive, suggesting instead that they are crucial to safeguarding against emerging threats from adversaries like China and Russia. 2. High cost versus initial budget. The initial budget request for the Golden Dome is $25 billion, which seems modest compared to the projected total cost of $175 billion. However, the Congressional Budget Office estimates that the space-based components alone could exceed $542 billion over 20 years. This discrepancy raises questions about the effectiveness and efficiency of budget allocation in military spending, where initial costs might appear manageable but can spiral dramatically. 3. Operational timeline versus technical readiness. President Trump asserted that the Golden Dome would be operational before the end of his term in 2029. Yet insiders suggest that only some initial capabilities may be ready by then, indicating a significant gap between political promises and technological realities. This contrasts with the expectation that military programs typically take years or decades to develop, fully showcasing a potential overestimation of the timeline. 4. Geopolitical stability versus destabilization claims. Russia and China have condemned the Golden Dome as deeply destabilizing, claiming it would lead to the militarization of space. Ironically, this opposition highlights a paradox. While the U.S. views the program as a means of enhancing national security and deterrence, adversarial nations perceive it as a threat that could disrupt the existing balance of power. This suggests that defensive measures can inadvertently provoke the very tensions they aim to mitigate. 5. Integration of existing systems. The U.S. already possesses a range of missile defense capabilities such as Patriot missile batteries and satellite systems. The Golden Dome aims to enhance these existing systems rather than replace them. This raises questions about the necessity and efficiency of introducing a new costly program when current systems could potentially be upgraded or integrated to meet evolving threats. It also indicates that the U.S. may be overextending its resources instead of optimizing existing capabilities. 6. Initial conceptual phase versus urgency of implementation. The Golden Dome program is still in the conceptual stage, with the Pentagon drafting an initial capabilities document. This contrasts sharply with the urgent political rhetoric surrounding its development, suggesting a disconnect between the need for immediate defense enhancements and the actual pace of military innovation. This counterintuitive dynamic may lead to unrealistic expectations regarding the program's rollout and effectiveness. 7. Military space operations versus traditional defense initiatives. The Golden Dome's focus on space-based operations represents a significant departure from traditional ground and aerial defense strategies. This shift raises concerns about the implications for global military engagement norms. The idea that the U.S. is moving toward a model that relies heavily on space may seem counterintuitive, as many analysts argue that such a dependency could increase vulnerability to counter-space operations by adversaries. 8. Potential for increased tensions versus deterrence. While the aim of the Golden Dome is to act as a deterrent against missile threats, its implementation could lead to increased military tensions and a potential arms race in space. This paradox reflects the counterintuitive reality that defensive measures may provoke offensive responses from adversaries, ultimately undermining the intended security benefits. 9. Public support versus political feasibility. Despite the ambitious nature of the Golden Dome, public support for massive military spending initiatives can fluctuate based on economic conditions and political sentiment. The juxtaposition of a grand defense vision against the backdrop of potential public skepticism about military expenditures could challenge the program's viability, as citizens might prioritize domestic issues over defense initiatives. 10. Technological advancement versus strategic vulnerability. The Golden Dome is designed to counter advanced missile technology developed by adversaries. However, there is an inherent risk that focusing on one type of technological advancement could create new vulnerabilities in other areas of defense. This counterintuitive aspect emphasizes the need for a balanced approach to defense spending, where investments in one area do not come at the cost of overall military readiness. In summary, the Golden Dome Missile Defense Shield Plan encapsulates a range of counterintuitive elements that challenge conventional perceptions of military strategy, budgeting, and international relations. The ambitious nature of the program may lead to unforeseen consequences both domestically and globally as the U.S. navigates the complexities of modern defense in an increasingly contested environment. The Golden Dome Missile Defense Shield Plan announced by President Donald Trump in May 2025 is poised to have profound implications for U.S. military strategy and international relations. While many discussions around the program have focused on its high-level features and projected costs, several important aspects may be overlooked by the general public and even analysts. Here are some of these overlooked elements and their significance. 1. Integration of space-based interceptors. The concept of incorporating space-based interceptors into the Golden Dome plan is groundbreaking. This approach represents a paradigm shift in missile defense as it moves the battlefield into space. The significance lies in the potential for early detection and interception of threats. While the idea of space-based defense has been floated in the past, the commitment to actual deployment reflects a serious escalation in military capabilities. Why it matters: the deployment of weapons in space not only enhances U.S. defense capabilities but also raises ethical and legal questions regarding the militarization of outer space. It could lead to an arms race in space as other nations may feel compelled to develop countermeasures or their own space-based systems. Intensifying global tensions. 2. Financial implications and cost underestimation. While the Golden Dome program is estimated to cost $175 billion, some projections indicate that the space components alone could reach $542 billion over 20 years. This discrepancy highlights potential financial miscalculations and the need for transparent budgeting. Why it matters: underestimating costs can lead to budget overruns and misallocation of resources, impacting other national security priorities and domestic programs. Moreover, the request for an initial $25 billion in a tax break bill may raise concerns about prioritizing military spending over social and economic needs, potentially alienating segments of the population. 3. International reactions and escalation of tensions. Responses from Russia and China have characterized the Golden Dome as deeply destabilizing, warning that it could lead to the militarization of outer space. These reactions are significant not just as geopolitical posturing but as indicators of how the program could shift the global security landscape. Why it matters: the potential for increased military tensions between the US, Russia, and China could lead to a new Cold War-like environment. The emphasis on outer space as a theater for military engagement may prompt other nations to develop their own countermeasures, creating an arms race in advanced technologies including anti-satellite capabilities. 4. Technological feasibility and innovation risks. The Pentagon is still in the early stages of defining the requirements for the Golden Dome, which is atypical for a significant military initiative. The ambitious nature of integrating advanced technologies into a cohesive system raises questions about feasibility and timelines. Why it matters: the lack of a clear operational framework may lead to delays, technical failures, and unanticipated challenges in deployment. Overly optimistic timelines can create public disillusionment regarding the efficacy of military initiatives, particularly if expectations are not met. 5. Geopolitical strategy and deterrence posture. The Golden Dome program indicates a shift in U.S. defense strategy, emphasizing the need to counter advanced missile threats from adversaries. This reflects an evolving understanding of global threats and the necessity for a robust deterrence posture. Why it matters: by framing the program within the context of countering adversarial advancements, the U.S. is signaling its commitment to maintaining military superiority. However, this could also provoke adversarial nations to escalate their military capabilities in response, potentially destabilizing existing deterrence mechanisms. 6. Public perception and political ramifications. The announcement of the Golden Dome program is likely to evoke mixed responses from the public. ranging from support for enhanced national security to concerns about escalating military spending and prioritization of defense over domestic issues. Why it matters: public perception will influence political discourse and decision-making. If significant portions of the population view the program as unnecessary or harmful, it could impact the political landscape, including the support for future military initiatives or the re-election prospects of proponents of the program. Conclusion: while the Golden Dome Missile Defense Shield Plan presents an ambitious vision for U.S. national security, the overlooked aspects discussed above underscore the complexities and potential ramifications of such a program. The integration of space-based interceptors, the financial implications, international tensions, technological feasibility, geopolitical strategy, and public perception all play critical roles in shaping the future of U.S. defense policy and its global impact. Engaging with these overlooked factors is essential for a comprehensive understanding of the Golden Dome Initiative and its place in contemporary military strategy. For valuable points for in-depth analysis and discussion on the $175 billion Golden Dome Missile Defense Shield Plan. 1. Multilayered defense system and space-based interceptors. The Golden Dome Initiative introduces a multi-layered missile defense system that aims to intercept threats at various stages: pre-launch, early flight, mid-course, and final descent. This is a significant advancement in the current U.S. missile defense strategy. The incorporation of space-based interceptors is particularly noteworthy as it represents a paradigm shift in military defense capabilities. The ability to detect and neutralize missiles from space could change the dynamics of missile defense and offense, raising questions about the implications for international security and the potential for an arms race in space. 2. Projected costs and budget implications. The program's estimated cost of $175 billion, with projections indicating that space-based components alone could reach $542 billion over 2 decades, raises critical issues regarding fiscal responsibility and budget allocation in the context of national defense. The initial request of $25 billion from Congress as part of a tax break bill suggests potential political maneuvering and prioritization of military spending over domestic needs. This aspect warrants a discussion on the opportunity costs of such a large investment in defense compared to other pressing issues such as infrastructure, healthcare, and education. 3. Geopolitical reactions and destabilization concerns. The reaction from global powers, particularly Russia and China, underscores the geopolitical ramifications of the Golden Dome program. Both nations have labeled the initiative as deeply destabilizing, warning that it could lead to the militarization of outer space and escalate tensions. Analyzing these international responses can provide insights into the broader implications for U.S. foreign policy alliances and the potential for conflict. The program could provoke adversarial nations to enhance their own military capabilities, potentially leading to a new arms race in space. 4. Technological advances and strategic necessities. The Pentagon cites the need for the Golden Dome as a response to the advanced missile technologies being developed by adversaries. The emphasis on updating defense systems reflects an acknowledgement of the evolving nature of warfare and the technological arms race. This point invites a discussion on the ethical considerations of such advancements, how they might affect global stability, the risks associated with deploying weapons in space, and the potential for unintended consequences. The technological landscape of defense is rapidly changing, and the implications for military strategy and international relations are profound. Conclusion: the Golden Dome Missile Defense Shield Plan represents a transformative approach to U.S. military strategy with significant implications for defense capabilities, budget allocation, international relations, and technological advancement. Each of these points invites further analysis and discussion on the potential benefits and risks associated with such a large-scale initiative. The interplay between military innovation and geopolitical dynamics will shape the future of national and global security. Here are three famous historical cases related to ambitious military defense initiatives that share similarities with the conceptualization of the Golden Dome Missile Defense Shield Plan. 1. Strategic Defense Initiative (SDI). Announced by President Ronald Reagan in 1983. The Strategic Defense Initiative aimed to develop a missile defense system that would protect the United States from nuclear missile attacks by using ground-based and space-based systems. The SDI proposed deploying satellites armed with lasers and other advanced technologies to intercept and destroy incoming ballistic missiles before they could reach U.S. territory. The initiative faced criticism for its high costs and technical feasibility, and it was often referred to as Star Wars by detractors. While the SDI was never fully realized, it significantly influenced defense policy and the technological race during the Cold War. Much like the proposed Golden Dome program reflects a shift in contemporary military strategy. 2. Aegis Ballistic Missile Defense System. The Aegis Ballistic Missile Defense System, developed by Lockheed Martin, was first deployed in the early 2000s and is designed to intercept short to intermediate range ballistic missiles. It uses powerful radar and interceptor missiles launched from ships or land-based platforms to track and destroy incoming threats. Similar to the proposed Golden Dome's multilayered defense approach, the Aegis system integrates various defense layers and has evolved with the threat landscape, particularly in response to advancements in missile technology from nations like North Korea and Iran. Its ongoing development and deployment illustrate the continual adaptation of U.S. missile defense in the face of emerging threats. 3. THAAD Terminal High Altitude Area Defense. THAAD is a U.S. Army missile defense system designed to intercept and destroy short, medium, and intermediate range ballistic missiles during their terminal phase of flight. Developed in the 1990s and first deployed in 2008, THAAD represents another layer of the U.S. missile defense strategy. Capable of intercepting missiles at various altitudes. The system has been deployed in several locations, including South Korea, amid rising tensions with North Korea, and has faced criticism and opposition from countries like China and Russia, which see such deployments as destabilizing. The geopolitical implications of THAAD deployments resonate with the concerns surrounding the Golden Dome initiative, particularly regarding the militarization of space and the potential for escalating arms races. These historical cases highlight the complexities, challenges, and international ramifications associated with ambitious defense initiatives, echoing the themes present in the Golden Dome Missile Defense Shield Plan. The $175 billion Golden Dome Missile Defense Shield Plan represents a pivotal shift in U.S. military strategy, particularly in the realm of missile defense. Announced by President Donald Trump in May 2025. This ambitious initiative aims to enhance defense capabilities against emerging threats from nations like China and Russia. As we consider the future outlook for this program, several key predictions can be made based on its features, geopolitical implications, and technological advancements. 1. Operational status by 2029. The Golden Dome program is projected to be operational before the end of Trump's term in 2029. Given the complexity of integrating space-based interceptors and a multi-layered defense system, it is likely that the program will achieve some initial capabilities by this deadline, although full operational status may take longer. The Pentagon's history of defense project timelines suggests that while certain components may be ready, comprehensive operational effectiveness could extend beyond 2029. 2. Escalation of geopolitical tensions. The implementation of the Golden Dome system is expected to escalate geopolitical tensions, particularly with Russia and China. Both nations have already labeled the initiative as deeply destabilizing, emphasizing the risk of the militarization of space. As the U.S. moves forward with this program, we can anticipate a potential arms race in space where adversarial nations may accelerate their own missile defense and offensive capabilities in response. 3. Technological advancements and challenges. The Golden Dome program will likely drive significant advancements in military technology, particularly in space-based systems. However, it will also face numerous challenges, including the technical difficulties associated with developing reliable space-based interceptors and the cost overruns that have historically plagued large defense projects. The projected cost of $542 billion for the space components alone over 2 decades emphasizes these challenges. As the program progresses, we may see innovations in satellite technology and missile interception methods, but also setbacks due to unforeseen technological hurdles. 4. Increased defense budget and resource allocation. To support the Golden Dome initiative, the U.S. defense budget is expected to see substantial increases. The initial request of $25 billion is likely to evolve into a larger financial commitment as the program develops. This could result in reallocations of funds from other defense initiatives or social programs, leading to political debates about prioritizing military expenditure over domestic needs. The long-term sustainability of such funding will depend on the political climate and public support for military spending. 5. Strengthening of U.S. alliances. The Golden Dome program may lead to a strengthening of U.S. military alliances, particularly with NATO and other allied nations concerned about missile threats from adversarial states. As the U.S. enhances its missile defense capabilities, allied nations may seek to deepen their defense cooperation and joint exercises, potentially leading to a more unified front against common threats. This could also encourage partner nations to invest in their own defense systems, further bolstering collective security efforts. 6. International treaties and diplomatic efforts. The introduction of the Golden Dome program will likely prompt discussions around new international treaties to regulate the militarization of space. As nations express concerns over the implications of space-based weapons, there may be a push for diplomatic efforts to establish norms and agreements aimed at preventing an arms race in outer space. These discussions could be contentious, particularly if nations feel threatened by U.S. advancements. 7. Cybersecurity and space warfare. As the Golden Dome program develops, there will be an increased focus on cybersecurity in the context of space warfare. The vulnerability of space-based assets to cyber attacks will become a critical concern, necessitating robust cybersecurity measures to protect missile defense systems and satellite communications. This could lead to a new domain of warfare centered around cyber capabilities and countermeasures, emphasizing the need for comprehensive strategies to safeguard military assets in space. 8. Public perception and political implications. The public perception of the Golden Dome initiative will play a significant role in its future. As awareness of the program grows, citizens may express concerns about the militarization of space and the potential for increased global tensions. Political leaders will need to navigate these sentiments, carefully balancing defense needs with the public's desire for peace and security. The effectiveness of the Golden Dome program will be scrutinized, and any failures or setbacks could lead to significant political backlash. Conclusion. The Golden Dome Missile Defense Shield program heralds a transformative era in U.S. military strategy with profound implications for national security, international relations, and technological innovation. While it promises to enhance the country's defense capabilities, it also presents challenges that could reshape the geopolitical landscape. As we move forward, the success of this initiative will depend not only on technological advancements but also on diplomatic efforts to manage the complex dynamics of global security in an increasingly competitive environment.